kind of hiatus and coming back, it'd be very speculative that we would get the traffic back. So,
Judge,
And I've over the last couple of days, I've had conversations with the Borderplex Alliance, with Consul Mauricio Ibarra, Ponce de Leon as well, and this is part of the the process for the construction or the project that's being done by the federal government. That also means that anybody, Mr. Dip or any of the other individuals that he mentioned, can also provide comment in this feedback period. I think we have until either November 3rd or November 4th. It was a 45-day comment period. And I don't know if our letter to the GSA is going to be what they're going to be looking at to decide upon what they want to do. I'm sure they're going to take into account all of the feedback that they've gotten, and it's great that Mr. Dip and others will be able to send that feedback, because as I stated earlier, from what I understand, there was not in any of the other feedback periods. This has been a couple of years in the process that since the GSA announced and Congresswoman announced this plan, and there have been a number of opportunities for public comment, and I don't think there has been any opposition to the project at this point.
thank you, Commissioner.
Judge?
Yes, Commissioner.
I think we also have other members of the public that would like to comment. I don't know if we can hear their comment as well before we deliberate anymore.
Absolutely.
Is that okay, Judge?
Yeah, Commissioner Cornell first, and then we'll go to
Sure.
public comment.
I really think that apart from in this letter, I think we should urge not just the MPO but the city of El Paso that this is an urgent matter, and we really need to get onto the issue of the Zaragoza port of entry. We're missing the boat, I think, here. I think it's really imperative that we do something about it and try to collaborate with all the entities involved that can make that happen, because if we don't do that, we're just going to end up with another problem at Zaragoza like we have at BOTA. And if we don't get on, all we're doing is shifting, and we haven't planned for that. We knew it was going to happen, and here we are. We're doing things backward. We should have modernized, expanded Zaragoza first. So if we haven't done that, that's where we really need to get on the ball tonight to do it. And I agree, this is long-term, this is the way to go. I think we need to do this. I just think we've gone about it in reverse order. And
right, and I don't know if that's something that's within our control, Commissioner. I mean, as the county, we don't decide what presidential permits or all of this. I mean, we have the Tornillo Port of Entry, and I agree. There are probably some things that might have been done, but from what I understand, the city is, I think, going to have their meeting tomorrow, and there's I think there's going to be an item on the agenda regarding some upgrades at the Zaragoza Bridge. I'm not sure if they're exactly what you're wanting or referring to, but there's so many moving parts and so many different stakeholders involved in all of this. It's not an easy feat, and I'm not sure who you expected to have planned, but I think we all can agree that we know that more commercial traffic is coming. We know that the nearshoring is going to be a huge thing. We know that we don't want the El Paso region to be lacking or fall behind when it comes to being a part of that. I think we're all on the same page when it comes to that. But the Tornillo Port of Entry is very underutilized. There's capacity at Zaragoza that can still be utilized, and it's gonna. I mean, we're here. I think arguing about whether or not we should do this project. I'm talking about. I mean, it seems to me that the project is going to be whether it's the taking the commercial traffic off at all, or completely, or the scale up option. We're this far in the process to where they've done the EIS. There's 45 days for the comment period, and they want to start this project in October of 2026. So if we want to have the conversation of what do we need to do with the other ports of entry, we need to have that conversation. Of course, we need to have all of the stakeholders in the room when it comes to that. But when it comes to this project, I think that we need to support what one of the options, and for me, this is the best option.
Thank you,
think-
Commissioner Stout.
I think we ought to include though in this letter that for us, that it's imperative that not just that the federal government take a look at the expansion of Zaragoza as well as the city. I think that's something we really ought to, apart from the recommendation we're making to get rid of it, that it's really imperative that happen immediately as far as looking at it and planning for the expansion over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ought to involve some of the other community members. I think we have until the 4th. I agree with you, Judge. I think we can post, we don't meet next Monday, but maybe the week after. We can have a meeting before then. But I think this is what we need to do. I think we just.
Okay, thank you. Cesar, you want to, for public comments, please?
Yes, sir. First up, we have Veronica Carvajal. And once again, speakers are limited to 5 minutes.
Welcome, Veronica.
Good morning.
Welcome, Ms. Carvajal?
Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Veronica Carvajal, climate justice and civil rights organizer with Houston in Action in El Paso. I also co-wrote the comments that were submitted to the GSA on behalf of Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, on behalf of a number of community organizations, including Familias Unidas del Chamizal and San Javier, and that was back in February of 2023, when we did not know that this would be the outcome. I am requesting that you vote yes on item 6C and support the federal government's choice of viable action alternative 4, as articulated in the draft environmental impact statement for the modernization of the Bridge of the Americas, which we call the BOTA. Viable alternative 4 is the result of 2 years of community-driven advocacy centered around the health, safety, and quality of life of the residents living in close proximity to the BOTA. And it was also supported by hundreds and thousands of allies that live in every single one of your precincts. These allies include El Pasoans who fought to protect the County Coliseum and the ice skating rink from being demolished, as well as those who are tired of waiting behind semis on US 54 and I-10 because of backup into heading into Mexico on BOTA. In announcing its selection, the GSA has stated that it selected viable alternative 4 as its preferred alternative because it believes this alternative would best fulfill its statutory mission and responsibilities, giving consideration to economic, environmental, technical, and other factors. The GSA has identified alternative 4 as the most the most cost-effective option, which is also the most environmentally friendly option. The GSA came to this conclusion 2 years after the community began asking for it. The GSA has conducted a very thorough review of the benefits and consequences of removing the semis. We didn't even have alternative 4 as an option until December of 2023. The public comment period was open to everyone, including the maquila and trucking industry. They too have had 2 years to build their case, and yet they haven't. And they haven't because they can't. The media has covered this extensively. You have discussed this a number of times. The GSA has had several rounds of public comment, and Congresswoman Escobar also did her own survey. Removing the trucks will facilitate pedestrian and passenger vehicle traffic, both of which will facilitate our economic, social, and cultural relationship with our sister city of Juarez. As stated in the EIS, other ports of entry can handle the semi-traffic from BOTA. This is especially true because the city has invested and plans to invest lots of money in the Isleta port of entry. In fact, tomorrow they're voting on a $20 million application to improve commercial traffic. In January 2023, the mayor of El Paso and the mayor of Juarez signed an MOU to begin exploring a more comprehensive and environmentally friendly transportation of cargo using conveyor belts on Isleta. And as you all know, both Isleta and Tornillo ports of entry collect tolls that are vital to our local economy. Please remember you have a duty to protect the public coffers and property, in addition to the community's health and safety. We are losing millions and millions of dollars in tolls currently. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent on air quality studies in our region since NAFTA, and BOTA has been the subject of many of those studies because of the semis, because of its close proximity to houses, people, schools, churches, our zoo, and many other local assets. We know that vehicles that idle pollute more than those that are circulating. Vehicles that use diesel pollute more than those that use gasoline. And diesel-fueled vehicles produce ultrafine particulates that affect not only our lungs, but also our cardiovascular health and many other issues. As the science catches up to our environmental reality, we are learning that air pollution has even been linked to colon cancer and infertility. As a result of advocacy by local group Familias Unidas del Chamizal, the national standard for particulate matter 2.5 has actually become more stringent, placing El Paso in non-attainment. This non-attainment status jeopardizes not only our health, but also our ability to access future federal funding, especially as environmental justice and environmental racism become a priority for the federal agencies.
30 seconds.
Further, the Chamizal Air Basin traps pollution in a very special way because of the two mountain ridges and the river. At its core, this is a huge opportunity to help undo hundreds of years of environmental justice and environmental racism, and I hope that you stand with our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veronica. Appreciate that. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Caesar?
Next, we have Ms. Emily Daslan.
And I believe Ms. Aslan had a video that she had sent in to our AV team that she wanted to have played after her comments. So if
Okay.
we can cue that up, Alexis, when we get a chance, thanks.
We have that?
Yes, Commissioner. It's ready.
Oh, we do
Oh,
have
great.
it.
Good morning. Yes.
Thank
I just
you.
wanted
Welcome.
to say hello and thank you.
Mi nombre es Pablo Martínez. Yo voy a la escuela Douglas Elementary. Proteger nuestra salud fuera de las tropas. Mi nombre es Estrella Dávila. Estoy en la escuela Douglas y quiero sacar las trocas del puente libre. Es Lucas Arillano y yo quiero quitar las trocas porque dañan la salud de los niños y causa que estén en el hospital. Campos, soy diputado de la escuela Chamizal. Yo voy en Douglas Dragons.
Mi nombre es Byron Dávila. Yo fui a la escuela Guillén y quiero proteger nuestra salud y fuera las drogas.
Gobierno. Mi nombre es Ingrid Los Ángeles. Voy a el Paso Leadership Academy. Proteja nuestra salud fuera las trocas.
Gobierno. Mi nombre es Lopan Sánchez. Yo voy a la Guillén Middle School. Proteger nuestra salud fuera las drogas.
Soy Francisco Torres. Vivo en el barrio Chamizal. Y mi preocupación es que la contaminación afecte a mi familia.
Mi nombre es Yanni Torres, soy una joven miembro de Familias Unidas de Chamizal. Vivo en el Paso, Texas con mi familia. A mí sí me preocupa la salud de mi familia. Algunos problemas son que en la calle nos podemos enfermar con el aire.
Gracias.
Just to take a few more seconds of your time.
Thank you.
We have been dealing with the trucks at El Puente Libre for decades. Mujer Obrera is not a stranger to that debate, having had protested there over 20 years ago. But this shouldn't be about politics. This is about children. This is about our future, and this is why we do it. it saddens me to hear people claim that they had no clue this was happening. The fact that the residents in Barrio Chamizal, their lives have been deemed dispensable and invisible for far too long. And it did take a lot, more than 2 years. It's taken decades to get to where we are today to have this option. And so we encourage you all to vote to support this decision by GSA. The federal government recommends, according to the draft EIS, an environmental impact statement, that this is best, not only for our health and for the environment, but there is a chapter in there, I hope that all of you get a chance to read it, that this will help our local economy. And there is a point made that it's not going to hurt our economy. We should prioritize people before polluters. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Maria Rodriguez.
The video for her as well.
Stand by, please.
Welcome, Maria.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Rodríguez. Yo tengo un pequeño o grande testimonio, según como lo quieran ver ustedes y la comunidad. Hemos vivido, mis hijos y yo, mis nietos, por más de 27 años aquí, en el vecindario del Chamizal. El año pasado le detectaron a mi hijo cáncer de pulmón. Él no ha fumado, él no hace drogas, pero ha crecido en esta área. Antes estaba peor por las trocas que estaban en toda la área de lo que era la Paisano. Ahora los niños de toda esta área, sea tiempo de calor, sea tiempo de frío, los niños están con tos, están con alergias, los adultos, yo, mis compañeras. ¿A base de qué? Yo no fumo. ¿A base de qué tenemos alergias y tenemos estos problemas de pulmón? A base del ambiente que está contaminado por todo el humaderón de las trocas que diariamente están transitando por aquí. Ahora he visto trocas que están pasando por la fila en medio de la comunidad. Eso no está bien y lo están haciendo sin permiso. Todo eso nos está contaminando de tal manera, los niños de la Zavala, los niños de alrededor no están aquí, pero si los vieran, en la escuela parece una orquesta, con tos, con alergias y todo basado en que estamos diariamente aspirando humo tóxico que nos hace daño. Lo de mi hijo es como, lo vuelvo a repetir, como ustedes lo vean, ya sea pequeño o grande el problema, pero ahorita mi hijo tiene cáncer y no sabemos, no saben los médicos por qué. Pero yo puedo decir que probablemente pueda ser que ha estado desde pequeño inhalando humos tóxicos como lo que es el diésel, que es lo que usan las trocas. Tómenlo como ustedes crean conveniente, pero es un testimonio vivo que yo estoy viviendo y que ni los médicos ni yo sabemos por qué está sucediendo eso. Aún no sabemos si hay más enfermos graves, pero podemos estar en toda la comunidad buscando familias que tengan testimonios parecidos y podemos traerlos para que se dé cuenta la comunidad del Paso que está haciendo un daño enorme que las trocas pasen por este lado. Muchas gracias. Buenas tardes.
Hola, María.
Buenos
Bienvenida.
días.
Buenos días.
Mr. Samaniego. Estoy aquí porque para mí es muy importante lo que está sucediendo y es muy importante que se tome una decisión adecuada a beneficio de nuestra comunidad, de mí misma, de mi familia y de todos los que vivimos en el área del barrio Chamizal. Vengo en representación de Familias Unidas. Estoy aquí porque lo vuelvo a repetir, para nosotros es algo muy importante porque está dañando nuestra salud. De hecho, traigo aquí a mi nieto de 9 años, que él puede hablar si ustedes quieren. Él vive con las alergias diariamente. sea tiempo de frío, sea tiempo de calor. No nada más él, todos nuestros niños de ahí mismo. Espero tomen una decisión correcta en beneficio para la comunidad, para los que estamos viviendo diariamente, pues consecuencias de algo que no pedimos, pero que no queremos que esté en nuestra área. Buenos días, Dios los bendiga.
Muchas gracias, María, por su tiempo. Igualmente.
Do we have anybody else in the audience that would like to speak in this item? That concludes public comment, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Coronado?
You know, obviously, hearing from this is something that we don't want to happen to any of our constituents, any of the people that live around the ports. So I think it behooves us that we make sure, for example, that we have control over Tornillo. We want to make sure this doesn't happen over there too. And so I think we need to really take a look at what it is we need to do for the future. You know, it may not be something we need now because, or not experience now because there's not more traffic, but we need to plan that there's going to be more traffic over there and how it's going to affect that community. We don't have the same problems that are happening in the BOTA and what's going to happen and is happening in Zaragoza as in Tornillo, and we have control over that. So I think it really behooves us to really plan right for this expansion. And we don't want anybody, none of our constituents, to be placed in a situation where, you know, these health effects are happening. And I surmise we ought to probably even look at it even further because I surmise that for these ports, it's not just the trucks. We've got a lot of other issues that we have to deal with, and we need to take a look at all of that. And it's not just the trucks, but certainly what we have control over, we should be planning for it and make sure it doesn't happen somewhere else.
Agreed. Thank you. Go ahead. Cesar.
And I think there's lots of conversations within that realm. Modes of transportation that can be utilized to cross freight over ports of entry. There's trains and there's shuttles that can take containers, and we need to include those conversations, those points in the conversations that you're talking about, Commissioner Coronado, because I think the one thing that everybody is not happy with is the fact that we have just so many trucks that are causing a lot of pollution. That's I think the main concern. And so when we have these conversations and looking forward, we really need to advocate for multimodal cross-border commerce.
Thank you, Commissioner Stout. Go ahead, Cesar.
We have a motion from Commissioner Stout and a second from Judge Samaniego to approve the request. Voting is open.
I vote aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Dip. I'll have